welcome to the part 2 of the West Salalah exploration. So today is the darkroom session. Now, if you watched the video for that West Salalah exploration, you would know that I ran into some issues on the negatives. And then I had to make another video to explain how I tried to troubleshoot the problems that I saw on the negatives by switching into another camera with 2 rolls of film and going out and doing some test shots. Luckily, I solved that problem, and so today we're going to try and find a negative to get into the enlarger on this side of me and try to put a print. Now, because of the problems I have a very limited number of negatives to go with, and I think there's one that's worth taking a shot. I have the negatives right here. And as a refresher, if you didn't watch the first video on West Salalah, there are issues across the negatives in this first row, and that only leaves me a few on the end. But these were when I was shooting that old cement mixer down against the wall. And one of these has a really great angle, I think, and it will be this one that I will print. As you can see, I have the negative that I'd like to print now. It's into the enlarger, and this is just framing at this point. We'll do focus with the grain finder once we get ready. I'm going to be doing an 8x10 print of this one in the end. And I'm going to keep the outside of the negative in the print just for fun today. So we just throw an 8x10 test sheet in there, and then we have a grain finder, and we look through this hole and find the fine grain of the negative and use the fine focus to get sharp grain. We just insert that right below the lens, and it will help us create contrast and hopefully bring the blacks and some of the other darker tones out of that negative and develop what we need. So I've placed my test strip across the subject area of my negative plus some of the other background so I can get an idea of the exposure times and whether or not the contrast filter is correct. So I'm just going to do 2-second intervals. First test strip done, and it does not provide a lot of information. 2-second intervals, way too long. There is 2 seconds, and then there's the line, and then that's 4 seconds. And the difference between that is pretty big. And I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out. So I'm going to do a couple more test strips to find out where do I need to be to get that print done. I think I got what I needed, and let's take a quick review of the process and the results. So first one here, hopefully there's not too much glare on that one. You can see that it's muddy in terms of there's not a lot of contrast through the image, which creates this sort of flat, sort of unappealing look to it. It doesn't just, this should be a little bit brighter, and of course up in here. So what I'm looking at right now is the first attempt, I gotta fine tune it. Getting to the next attempt, solving some of the issues in terms of the highlights and the whites and the sort of the contrast and drawing a bit more, but you can see it's quite overexposed down here. It's just not looking, you just can't really see the detail through here. and it just creates this, again, unpleasant image. And lastly, the one that I would just, I'm satisfied with this one right here. I'll stick around and keep this one. You can see the highlights, the whites are a little bit better. And of course, there's better detail through the bottom part of the image. And this is pretty close to the environment I was in. It was a gray, overcast day with nothing in terms of detail coming through. And there wasn't a lot of obvious tonal difference. So this is pretty close to what I wanted. And I'll just stop right here with this one and call it a day. Not a bad image. So again, just a quick review. The first, the first attempt, sort of try to look at it as a full scale and then look at some changes to make. Then came down here, and again, it's just way too dark. The detail is lost inside there, and there's not enough tonal contrast in the image. And then the one that I would like to just stop with, I'm satisfied. Much better tonal contrast through there. It's okay. Having this highlight, I think that it offsets the weight of the image. So here's very dark, here's very light. So we get a good balance between those two parts. So seeing the detail and the other elements with enough contrast around, I like that one, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed that darkroom session. I have to say it is the first time that I have tried to record anything that I do in a darkroom. So hopefully there's some good parts in there, and I'll definitely try and get a bit better at it. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe to get reminders for future videos. Thank you again, and see you next time.